Going to be Unit 4, Lesson 5. So we have learned in the graph the equations y equals mx plus b. We call that slope form, okay, because m is slope, b is the y-intercept. Okay, we already know what that means. We know how to do it, but now we have to figure out, this is where it kind of gets a little bit more algebra. Okay, we have to do a little more work here. Write the equation of a line passing through the point 0, 2 with a slope 5/2. Now, when you're given a slope and a point, you can plug things in and solve. Okay, you can, because we have y equals, let me show you what I mean. But we don't have to do that yet. I'm going to show you in a second. Y equals mx plus b. We're given m, so I know it's this. And we're also given 0, 2, which is a what? It's a point x, y. Does that make sense? So I can insert those for x, y. So 2 would go for y. 0 would be x. Okay, so 2 5/2 times 0 plus b. Well, what happens? That's gone, right? So what's b equal? Okay, well, we already knew that. I did that, and I didn't have to. The reason you should have already known that is because every time your x is 0, what does that represent? The y-intercept, right? When your x is 0, so when you read this, even though it doesn't tell you that it's the y-intercept, it is, because x is 0. Okay, so when you're given a point and if it has a 0 in it, it's going to be an intercept of some sort. So, for example, if we switch these and it was 2, 0, that'd be a x-intercept. Y is 0, so it's an x-intercept, okay? So just kind of keeping that stuff in mind. Books and tests and assessments love to do that. Like we practice giving you guys a slope and the y-intercept, so you plug those in. They give it to you in point form and don't call it one. You have to kind of just know. So like seeing 0, 2, saying, oh, that's a y-intercept. That's helpful. Okay, now you can plug it in like I did, do extra work, but it just a little bit of waste of time. Okay, so write the equation. So we're done. We know that b is 2. When it says write the equation, it means that you have y and x stay, and you have to have b and m figured out. Well, we were given m, and we figured out b. So y equals 5/2 x plus 2 is the equation of the line that they just put there. Did I lose anybody yet? Any questions? Okay. Y equals 5/2 x plus 2 is the equation of the line in slope form. Each line on the grid passes through the points with integer coordinates. In each case, state the slope and y-intercept of the line and determine the equation of the line. Okay, so we have two lines here. We're trying to figure out the y-intercept. Okay, so if we're trying to figure out the y-intercept, let's do the negative line here first. Let's do this guy. Okay, so there's this y-intercept. It's right there. So we know it's going to be, we know it's going to be something like this. Y equals mx plus 2, right? Because that's the y-intercept, 2. How can I figure out the slope? Well, we can count. You want to look for another flush point. There's one right there. What's flush mean? What do I mean by saying that? Goes right to that coordinate, right? Right through the crosshairs, if you will. So down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So I went down, so I know my slope is -3 over 2. That is the first line, or line 2. They labeled it here. It says line 2 right there. Line 2 is -3/2 x plus 2. A couple things you can double check your work. That's definitely a negative slope, right? That line's going down to the right. So it's negative. And then you know for sure, we can all count to 2, that that's the y-intercept. Okay? I could see you messing up this if you just kind of mess that part up a little bit, but everybody should have a negative and a 2, I think, should be locked in for sure. Okay? If you're not good at the counting, you're not comfortable with it, you also can use slope formula. Okay? Well, let's just practice that. Remember, slope formula is this. Remember? Y minus y over x minus x. Let's just practice. Let's try, so let's steal the y-intercept, so that's 0, 2. And let's just steal this point here that we thought was good. So that'd be 2, -1. Okay, this is just extra practice. You can just watch if you want. You can write this down if you want. It's up to you. So I'm going to go -1 minus 2 over 2 minus 0. -1 minus 2, 2 minus 0. -1 minus 2 is a -3. 2 minus 0 is 2. We just confirmed that we're good by using the slope formula. Like I said, the reason I like this is there's a lot of tools that get a lot of the same results. So pick the tools you like to use, pick the tools you're comfortable with, and use them well. Okay? There's a lot of ways to do this. All right, so then we got line 1. The y-intercept of line 1 is -4, right? Everybody see that? Okay, so we can write that here. Y equals mx minus 4. And I got to figure out what m is. So let's see here. I think that's flush right there. So up 1 over 3. So that's going to be y equals 1/3 x minus 4 for line 1. 1/3 x minus 4. Again, the minus 4 we can count, so we're good. Okay. Guys, okay, and thanks Ollie for answering. But so Caleb asked a good question. He started counting from here. So he used this flush point, and he got up 1 over 3. And he wasn't here for this lesson, but remember we talked about that. You can find the slope of a line from anywhere. Anywhere on the line will get you the same slope. Okay? So me going right here is not the only right way. I could have done it here, okay, or back. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the same slope should have in the same spots. Okay, but that's a really good point. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Keep going here. Determine the equation of the following lines. All right. So this is where you need to understand what parallel and perpendicular mean. If you don't, then you can't solve this. Okay? We okay? We all right? Okay, so look at A. Stay with me. Look at A. Determine the equation of the following lines. We want the line parallel to this one and the same y-intercept as this one. Okay, so it wants a line parallel to this one with the same y-intercept as this one. So what does parallel mean? No. That is correct.
They don't intersect and they're always like...
Right. They have the same slope. We should all be screaming. So we still 1/3. 1/3 is our new slope for our new line because they have to have the same slope to be parallel. No work needs to be done. Okay? Back to what we were saying. So what we were saying was we're supposed to make a parallel line to this one. So what you steal from that is the 1/3. Parallel means same slope. You just steal the slope. The +4 is irrelevant. We don't care about that. Okay? Next thing is it wants the y-intercept of the second line. So that means you need to steal the -7. We don't care about the 6x. It's irrelevant. Okay? So our equation, guys, there's no work to be done. All you have to do is write 1/3 x minus 7. You've made a line parallel that goes through -7 for the y-intercept. Yeah. Because it tells me specifically the line parallel to. So this one we're parallel to, y-intercept from that one. So it told me specifically which one to take. Okay, good question. Any questions on that? Okay, so now this one we do have work to do. So the line passing through 0, 9. So 0, 9 is a what? It's a coordinate, correct, but y-intercept was the correct answer. The y-intercept is 9, right? Because x is 0. If x is 0, that number is your y-intercept. Okay? And it wants to be perpendicular to that following line. So we have to find the slope by using slope formula. So guys, this is where we're putting it all together now. So stay with me. Stay with me. Some of you guys are dazing off right now. It's the wrong time to do that. Okay, perpendicular to this. We have to figure out what slope is here. So we have to do slope formula. Again, y minus y over x minus x. So 0 minus -6. No, minus a minus. -5 minus 2. Minus a minus a plus, so I have a 6 on top. -5 minus 2 is a -7. So my slope of that line is -6 over 7. So perpendicular means flip it, switch it. So 7 over 6. You flip it and change the sign. It is negative, so perpendicular will be 7 over 6. So our answer, we take this, y equals 7 over 6 x plus 9. Okay, get that down. And I don't want to assume it's that easy for you, so I want you to make sure to ask questions if you have one. Let me recap it one more time, then I'll take some questions. First step, a line passing through the point 0, 9. That point they gave me was a y-intercept. We need to understand that. It was a y-intercept because x was 0. Okay, so we wrote that here. They want to be perpendicular through the line that goes through these 2 points. So we had to figure out what line goes through these 2 points and what their slope is. So we use slope formula. Common mistake would be this mistake here. Remember, minus a minus means plus. So 6 over negative 7, you flip it to 7 over 6, and it was negative. We changed it to positive to get my new slope. We now have the slope. We have the y-intercept. We're done. Okay? Any questions or clarifications there? Sure? Okay. All right, so example 4 here. This is the last page of this already. Okay, the diagram shows a display from graph and calculator screen. The intercepts are integers. Determine the equation of the lines shown. So here's a tricky thing. They are literally tricking you. Okay? They are tricking you because what does this look like? The y-intercept looks like what? 2. But what's the scale? It's going up by 7. So 7. 14. Yeah, the y-intercept's 14. Okay? Does that make sense? No, Lauren? Okay, so do you see that it goes 1, 2, right? Except for the calculator is set to go up by 7s. So it's 7, 14. Make sense? Okay. Now let's count. Let's see what it's going over and up. So it's going down. It's definitely down, right? Yeah. Down 14. So negative 14 down. Over 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's going over 4 what? Yeah, so it's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's the slope, but we'll go ahead and simplify it. So let me pause there. All we're messing with now is scales. They're just messing you up with scales, and you're just not counting simply 1 by 1. Everything else is normal. What does 14 over 20 reduce to? Negative 7 over 10. So your equation is negative 7/10 x plus 14. Okay, any questions there? Again, I'll show you one more time how I got this number right here. Down 7, down 14, over 5, 10, 15, 20. I knew that because this tells me it goes by 7s here, and it says it goes by 5s here. Okay? All right, let's do this last one here. I think it's the last one. Oh, no, there's no. Oh, barely. There's a little blurb at the end there. Okay, so now we're doing the horizontal and vertical lines. These ones are easy if you, I don't say it's easy if you know it because that's kind of redundant, but these are easy to understand if you get the concept overall. So once you get the concept, it's kind of locked in. These are easy points for you. So it says state the slope and y-intercept of the horizontal line 1. So remember, what we talk about, horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Good. So the slope is 0, and what's the y-intercept? Line 1, 4, right? So you can write this equation out if you want, but we don't have to write slope. It's simply going to be y equals 4 because the slope's 0. Is that bad? I skipped a step there? I'll write it one time for you. Okay, so this is what it would be. It'd be that. But 0x is nothing. So you don't have to write that. It's just y equals 4. Okay, which makes sense because that line is always what? 4. So it's a constant. That's why it's just, that's no variable. Okay. Okay, so I already jumped ahead here. Sorry. Thanks, Sully. Okay, y equals 0x plus 4, which is y equals 4. Predict the equation of the horizontal line 2 using graphing calculator verify. So what is this one going to be? Just y equals negative 6. Okay, so write that down, then I want you to listen to me because this is where I want to see if you can lock this in to get these free points when you're assessed. All horizontal lines, all flat lines are in y equals form. All horizontal lines that are flat with a slope of 0 are y equals. guys got that? Okay. And the other way, if you're confused, like, how do I get that? How am I going to know that? Well, because it's going through 4 on the what axis? Yeah, the y-axis. Another way I can remind you. This is going through -6 on the y-axis. So then what do you think the vertical lines are going to be? X equals. Good, because they go through an x equal value. Good job. Okay, so vertical lines are x equals, horizontal lines are y equals. That's all you need to know for those. Okay? All right, so let's do that. Say the slope and y-intercept of line 3. Line 3, we talked about the slope is what? Undefined. It's so steep we can't define it. It's straight up and down. There is no y-intercept. So why can we not use slope-intercept form? Well, it doesn't have a slope. It doesn't have y-intercept, so that's pointless. Okay, we don't have we don't have M or B. Predict the equation. Okay, why can we not use a graphing calculator to verify? Because graph calculators are in what form? Y equals, so we can't verify them. That's correct. So it's going to be x equals -3. That's all you need to know. Vertical line, x equals -3. Again, you can't put that one in your calculator. Questions there? Horizontal, y equals, vertical, x equals. Just keep saying that. It's right here for you. Okay, last little piece here. Determine the equation of the line through the point -2, 8 and parallel to the y-axis. So determine the equation of the line through that point that's parallel to the y-axis. The y-axis runs which way, up and down or left and right? So we want what type of line then? A y equals or x equals? Good. X equals, and it's going to go through -2. Do you understand that x equals -2 goes through 8? Because x through -2 hits infinite, it hits all the numbers. So what I'm saying is, if I go through here, here's -2, this line, -2, it hits 8, it hits 10, it hits 20, it hits 100, it hits all of them. Okay? So parallel to the x-axis, now that's going to be horizontal. So that's going to be y equals 8. You have to go through the y. Okay, and so if we said this is 8 here, it'd be like that. Okay? All right, we'll pause there.